Smell those eggs and bacon. It's time for Breakfast Talk, a podcast covering a range of entrepreneurial and independent comics creation topics first thing in the morning. Of course, please like and share if you're enjoying our special seasoning. And be sure to subscribe to join us every Monday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. Let's talk.
We live. All right, that was loud. All right, this is episode 6 of Breakfast Talk.
Breakfast Talk.
Today's topic is: Are you the
Breakfast Talk?
Jesus Christ. Are you the baker?
Breakfast Talk. All right.
Are you the baker or the businessman? I said it all.
These are the kinds of games we play on this podcast.
So let's dive into that topic.
Yes.
Oh wait, first we have to introduce ourselves. So I'm Greg of Sierra Nova Comics.
I don't know.
Oh, and then whoever is gonna go next. Jesus
I
Christ.
just realized I might be pointing.
You want me to redo this?
No, we're good. We're good. Wait, what is it? I'm Dylan of Sierra Nova Comics.
Wait, what's my name again?
I'm the CTO and editor-in-chief. There we go. I was like, words with friends.
I'm Hector Hilo from New Leaf Studios. I'm the lead artist, art director, overall dude. New Leaf Studios dude.
Overall dude.
He's a BAMF.
Yeah, we changed our name on all the platforms now, guys.
Studios.
We're newleaf.stew.
Stew.
See, doing that.
Funny story about that, but I'll tell you about it later.
Oh.
On the next episode.
Exactly.
So the topic for episode 6 is: Are you the baker or the businessman? That's
Right.
discussed in the book E-Myth Revisited. So Dylan will probably most likely, after he's done devouring whatever he is,
Bacon.
Oreo, or what is that? Brownie.
How did I think it was bacon?
You're eating a brownie? It's breakfast talk, not brownie talk.
Breakfast Talk! Woo!
Dessert.
Bakers, businessmen, brownies.
Get it? That was like it was almost planned. I could have saved that brownie for the next episode.
All right.
But yeah, so we kind of touched on this in a previous podcast, I believe, but the whole concept is: are you the baker or the businessman? Are you the technician or are you the entrepreneur? Are you trying to build a business or are you trying to simply make comics? And actually, in a separate podcast we recorded earlier today, we were talking about business partners in the comic book world and how there's many people that go out to make indie comics and they just go out by themselves. They're either the artist and writer, or they just hire artists or they hire writers, and they're just a general, creator. But the point is that, what's the proverb? It's if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And so the concept is, if you're trying to build a business and you really want, instead of just making comics, you really want to push forward. So you need to understand: is the goal to make a comic book business, or is it simply to create comics? Because one of them leads into, potentially making money, and the other one is more of a hobby. And, that's kind of the concept. Are you trying to really dive deep into that?
Sure. I
Yeah.
think what's funny about it is actually, like, I feel like both ways, like, you can make money essentially, but it's more or less like one is a legacy as opposed to just momentary pieces of work. So, like, if you make a one comic, that doesn't guarantee your success throughout time. It just makes sure that you created that one comic. That one comic could be successful, could launch a career by some other publisher that's like, hey, this guy's really great, and you get opportunities that come your way. But at the same time, you'll be employed. You'd be working for someone, as opposed to creating a legacy through your own, like, thought processes and habits and, like, practices, morality, everything that you would want out of a business. You create that essentially. So it's just two different ways of going about it. And obviously, I think both ways can make money. It's just one is long term and the other one's more momentary, short term.
I would say too, you could also build legacy just being the creator, but the point is that you're not in control of that.
Right.
You know, unless you're going to be the marketer and the salesman and all of that, which a lot of people just aren't built for that. And in that case, Gary Vaynerchuk talks a lot about this. Like, it's okay to be number 2 of a big company. You don't have to be number 1. Number 1, if something goes wrong, it's number 1's fault all the time. It doesn't matter who did it. If an earthquake took out the building, number 1 should have had insurance, right? Like, it's always number 1's fault.
Mm-hmm.
So the point is that if you're doing it because you enjoy creating comics, say you're an artist or a writer, really evaluate whether or not you want to be a business owner too, because there's a lot that goes into it. Even just controlling stuff like getting copywriting and things like that, like getting trademarks, like understanding the business side of creating comics is very important. And some of that stuff is just looked over, and you don't want to go into it with certain expectations and be disappointed, and then potentially tarnish the idea of comics in your own mind because you got in over your head trying to become a business owner, when in all reality, you could have joined Sierra Nova Comics and been perfectly happy. Or New Leaf Studios. You don't know.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely having the right expectations when you start. You know what I mean? Like, some people, I think they start with the idea of being a company, but really they're operating as if they're just creating the comics. And it's like, there's 2 different expectations there. Like, if you're running a company, you're running a company. If you're creating a comic, you're creating a comic. There's 2 completely different things there. One, creating the company could involve creating the comics, but there's a whole process that's just that, creating comics. There's a whole nother process that's running the business. Having the right path when you first start out is probably a really good idea.
And the right mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to think about that in the beginning of all of this. He's like, so do you want to just make comics, or do you want to do this? And I was like, I want to have the whole business situation going on there.
Yeah.
And then it branched out to video game comics, cards, and other stuff. So.
I'm like, Greg, calm down.
Yeah, there's a Art Belfield. He was on our other podcast, SNC podcast, and he messages me sometimes, and he's like, "What aren't you guys doing?" And I'm like, I don't know.
It's like, I don't know, but if you find out, could you let us know? We're trying to get into it.
Sleeping.
Yeah, sleeping. We're not doing sleeping.
Yeah,
because he knows we're gonna be doing like 3 Kickstarters coming up. 2 actually. The other one, we're just gonna be helping with the horror anthology, and then our video game 4 comics we're trying to release this year. All of that. We're doing all of that, and then there's
paint by colors.
There's
paint by numbers, color by numbers.
Color by numbers.
We're doing that card collection thing. So yeah, we're doing a shit ton of stuff.
Excuse me. So what would you guys consider yourselves as?
Business.
All business?
Definitely business.
I would say that. Well, yeah, because like Greg is obviously a creator in this context as well as the businessman, but the point is he also knows what to delegate, which is also important. One of the things from the E-Myth Revisited that they talk about is when you first start a business, you will be working in the business, and the goal is to eventually work on the business. When it comes to being a comic book creator, it's possible that you can do both and build out both, but you want to make sure you're not just basically creating a job for yourself. You want it so that, Greg has an idea in mind. He doesn't need to learn how to draw comics. He can pay someone to do that. He doesn't need to learn how to edit comics. He can force me to do that. He doesn't need to, learn how to build websites. You can hire a web developer for that. And so the point is that you don't need to take on everything if your goal is to build out a business. Where if your goal is to build a comic, like learn how to draw, learn how to write, learn how to edit, learn how to letter, learn how to color, and do all that. And it can be an amazing, fun project to do. You could do it all yourself. And then, when it's all said and done, you haven't paid anybody and it's only your own work. And sometimes that's what people want. They don't realize it. So they go out and they try to start a business thinking that like, oh yeah, I'm going to go make money with the stuff I love. And it's like, that's not exactly how it works. Like you can, but not like, most indie creators make no money in comics. And the reason why is because they are, in fact, creators. They're not businessmen. They're not looking for all the opportunities that they could be making money in the business, and they're just focusing on comics. And if that's the case, that's great. Focus on your comics. Enjoy it. But, you know, if you want to do something else that makes money, don't count on just your comic books being the route to that. Make sure that you either work with a business partner or you just enjoy your comics.
True.
Yeah.
I think we nailed that.
We did.
Is this where I leave?
So, yeah. That is that.
Breakfast talk!
That is breakfast talk.
That is episode 6. So make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, smash the like button. Keep smashing it. Don't keep smashing it. Don't keep liking on.
Just once. Just once.
Just once. And
at least an odd number of times.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. We will see you on episode 7.
A breakfast talk!
That tea did not treat you well, that last sip, huh?
No.